Oh god, Miss Chopper came back with us again. Title of the video: Superman 2025. A teaser trailer released by James Gunn quite some time ago. I know I'm quite late, but some of you guys are still interested. Now I was planning on waiting for the second trailer, but you know, since it comes out July, I don't know if maybe to do that or not. So I might well get out the way now. But so far, this is the start of a brand new universe by James Gunn, and I'm cautiously optimistic right off the bat. Now, the reason why I'm cautiously optimistic because I don't know how it's going to turn out. I really don't. It's the start of a whole new universe, and unlike most people, I'm not concerned with how many characters that are in the movie because James Gunn usually does that. And the perfect case is Guardians of the Galaxy 1. If you heard without context right now that the previous Guardian movies didn't exist, James Gunn was going to do it, and it was going to have Running the Accuser, Thanos, the Collector, and the Nova guys in there, where people not be like, well, how can you put that many villains in one movie? How's it going to work? So in this case, it's a similar thing of where it looks good. The teaser trailer was alright. The official teaser trailer, well, the teaser of the teaser trailer was alright. But the official teaser trailer looks good to me. There's nothing that stands out bad or horrific. We don't know exactly what's going on so far, but I'm interested. I enjoy the Superman suit for what it is. What I mean by that is, not every Superman suit needs to be fitted. And a lot of people listen to Christopher Reeves or the Superman Return movies, or especially with Henry Cavill, would it be a very muscular, fitted suit. Especially when to go by some versions of Superman art. But this specific suit is inspired by a commodity. It's a little bit of New 52 suit with the way it's got the armored plating. It's a little bit of Kingdom Come with the logo. And it's also and it's also a little bit of All-Star Superman where the suit is not fitted, it's loose. And the ironic thing about it is people will talk about All-Star Superman and they would never critique the suit of how it's not fitted, how it's not ultra tight, how it's not skin tight. You can see every single muscle fiber. It's just strength. The comic book gets a pass. But it is what it is. But there are some shots where you can actually see David Cornsworth muscles come through the suit, which we'll get into if we, you know, analyze it frame by frame. But overall, I'm optimistically curious. Because I do understand where James Gunn trying to go with this movie, but we might as well get right into the frame by frame, and I'll break it down to explain to you as we go. So the teaser trailer starts out. We get this shot of the Arctic. We just see this Arctic ground, and we see this pan to an Arctic sky with some mountains in the background. And something out of nowhere crashes down full force. And we get this excellent shot of Superman stretched out across the snow. He's struggling to breathe. He's bleeding. And it's just, I love this shot. I really do love this shot. Where he's just sitting there, just out there, just stretched out, just bleeding. He's wheezing. He's trying to regain himself, and I don't know, I just love it. It's not one of those things where Superman needs to be seen as vulnerable, but it's a position that we don't really see Superman in too often, and it's interesting to see how he gets to this point. But I do have my theories. But I just love this shot, especially with David Cornsworth. Like this angle of the suit, fantastic. It will work. It will work. But then we get this shot of David Cornsworth as Clark Kent. I have no real problem with it. And you can see by the design aesthetic of the Daily Planet on inside the Daily Planet that they're all really going for like a classic Superman type feel. And I have heard some reports that James Gunn want to make this a more of a timeless movie type of thing. And what I mean by that is, it's obviously modern, but it's not so modern where it's the current day world, current year, but it's not also so futuristic where you don't see like an older type design aesthetic, which is why, as a reporter, most current day journalists don't look like Mr. Clark Kent here with the suit ties and so on and so on. Matter of fact, that type of journalism hasn't looked like that in quite some time, really. Quite some time. So I like it. I like how you got the moppy here, how you try to really put the extra effort to make it look different, especially with the glasses. And you know, now, which also goes to another thing with the clumsiness. Apparently, the clumsy thing only comes from Christopher Reeve's version of Superman. Any other version of Superman, Clark Kent is just Clark Kent, just a normal guy. He's not so clumsy, which is very strange because when I think about it, when I used to watch some classic Superman cartoons, he really was just normal, talking to Lois and interacting and so on and so on. You know, the big threat shows up and he goes into a telephone booth and Superman hops out. I don't know, I love this stuff, boy. But and it's funny, we got this one guy, and he just looks at Clark Kent, he's just like, okay. And he walks into the Daily Planet, and now you get to see, you get this close up of Superman wheezing, bleeding out. Now you get to see what I mean by how the inside have this classic type feel. Uh, you can go to CNN or any other modern day journal place, and I guarantee you it'll look similar to this, but also different. They went for like a timeless type feel to it, where you can just honestly, you look at the trailer, it can fit in at any time period, any, but also while still feeling modern. Now think about it. Do you recall seeing, besides some flat screens, don't really see no iPhones, smartphones? It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but it creates this like timeless type of feel where you can put it in 50 years ago or 50 years into the future, where it's just like, hey, it could take place anywhere. It's kind of like The Incredibles. The Incredibles have a 60s type aesthetic, but really you can watch it at any time and still feel like you're a part of this world, because it's not a distinct set time period, even though it takes inspirations from that time period. Strange, but it works out. It all depends how you want to break up the story. We have Clark here on the phone talking, and you have Lois comes in, and I do agree. A lot of people say she looks like the classic Lois Lane actress. She kind of does. She kind of does. I don't know how, but she does. Maybe it's the way the makeup team did her hair, so on and so on. But obviously, Clark Kent potentially shows up late or shows up from something. Lois Lane makes a comment to him. Now I thought actually she make this comment that, that's when he looks around, but it seems like he looks around only after. If you pay attention, that is Jimmy Olsen, and that's not. And then we all know that's Jimmy Olsen is. Later in the trailer, where there's a wide shot of the Daily Planet, you do see he's wearing that exact same shirt, and he's just as ginger as ever. Because he looks back at Jimmy, then he looks further back at somebody else. So it could be that Jimmy Olsen's like, hey Clark, are you paying attention? He's like, huh? Oh, Lois. Oh, all right. Could be. We go to another thing. We don't know if Lois knows if Clark Kent is Superman or not. As far as we can tell, it's up in the air. It could be not. James Gunn hadn't said anything about whether it is or it isn't. It's kind of just really up in the air whether she does know it or does she not. It's up in the air. She obviously finds out later in the trailer, but it's still up in the air of how much she knows and how much she don't know. They already Clark and Lois already got a thing going, and they didn't like the relationship develop further on in the movie, or is it just they just still casual work friends, and then it's just we get to see the first key steps at the end to the relationship. Because it could be it's already something there, but not fully, and maybe he stood her up on the date, or maybe had to go do so and so and couldn't make it to something. And that's what it's just like it's amazing how you didn't show up like look, so it's just so and so, right? And that's what Jimmy would have said, hey Clark, you paying attention? Could be. And then we get a shot of the Kent farm, on which looks like a nice farm. Got some nice cattle out there. Look at that cattle. And we get to see John Kent now, and we see Clark. You see Clark embrace John Kent. I don't know if he's laughing at a joke or if he's potentially crying. David got a serious face here, but there have been some people roasting John Kent, and I don't know why. He looks like an older man. He looks like somebody be on the farm. Just give him a trucker hat, and I don't know. Maybe it's the only one. But we know that John Kent and Martha Kent is in the movie, but it could be a case, unlike the original Death of Superman story, where not too long after Superman died, John Kent passes away. It could be in this case, in this franchise, that Martha Kent passes away, and it's just John and Clark. Which could be an interesting dynamic that I don't know if any other series or comic books have done it, but as far as I can tell, I don't know if any other series have, done the whole Martha Kent passes away, and it's just John Kent, which would be interesting. Would have did that with the current Spider-Man, where Aunt May is the one who passed away, and to help Peter deal with the passing of Aunt May, that's when Uncle Ben teaches about the whole great power and responsibility, knowing how much to give and take, and how much you let the world affect you. So, but who knows? I know they're both in the movie. I know this seemingly is a nice tender moment between father and son, on which one of my favorite parts of Superman is the fact that even though that Clark Kent is not their son, he's fully adopted. He comes from space, Maria and John Kent treats them not only like their own, but it's just like he's pretty much an actual son to them. And I do love that loving, touching relationship between the Kents and how they care about each other. And then David does a whistle, and then from far off into the background, we see something coming full speed. We know there's reports that Supergirl is going to make a cameo in the movie. We don't know if it's going to be a post-credit scene or what it's going to be, but we know it's going to be a cameo in the movie. It's no different from how they teased the Nova Corps happening in the MCU with the Nova Force being wiped out, but Nova, the character, never showed up in Guardians 2, or at the end of Guardians 2, they teased Adam Warlock and he shows up. So it could be a case of that. It could be. Could be. But it's not Supergirl. Coming in faster than the speed of bullet, it's Crypto, the super dog. I don't know about other people. I'm glad Crypto's in this movie. And I didn't know this dog was completely CGI. I don't know how they did it. Did they CGI? They should be locked up in jail for how good. I thought this was a real damn dog. But the dog ain't. That's not a real dog, guys. That's a fake. Like, that's some good ass. I just made a video about some questionable CGI. This is some good ass CGI. My goodness. That's not a real dog. But it looks like a real dog. Shout out to the VFX team. That's amazing. But I'm glad Crypto the Superdog is in here. Some people might see it as corny or an outdated trope. That, you know, modern day superheroes need to follow this standard of being realistic enough for the general audience and just giving the fan base a few crumbs. And what I mean by that is, well, you can have it in so and so, but we can't really get a comic accurate Doomsday. We can't really get a one-to-one comic accurate looking Green Lantern suit. We can't in a way get a one-to-one accurate looking Wonder Woman suit because it's just recorded, or one-to-one Iron Man or Captain America or the Incredible Hulk. We can't give them green shorts, guys. We can't do that. Why not? Because it got to be realistic enough for the casual audience won't question it too much. You're watching a superhero movie. What did you expect? I'm not saying you need to go full-blown comic books, but it's just like, it's like going into Mission Impossible or an action movie. Then expect, well, they did this gunplay is unrealistic. Arnold Schwarzenegger and his one-liners, that's unrealistic. It's just, how coach, how dare you? It's an action movie. But it used to be the same people say don't take it that serious though, right? But I enjoy it. And the reason why Crypto has decided to move because James Gunn adopted a new dog. And based on the relationship with this new dog of his, he thought, well, you know, it'd be fun to add in Crypto. So Crypto is a little naughty throughout the film. I don't believe Crypto will play a big part. This might be his biggest moment in the movie right here. And he might show up at the end to help out Superman go against the major threat. But aside from Supergirl being a cameo for the movie that they're making and Crypto helping out, it would mainly just be a Superman type thing. And I'll get into why I believe that. And you get David saying, take me home. And Chris is like, he just takes off with him. And then you get this excellent shot of Superman saving this girl, on which you, like, let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody dresses like that, the way this girl's dressing right now. Now remember, I just said the whole timeless type feel. Nobody dressed like that these days. But why is it in the movie? The whole timeless aesthetic. Now if you pay attention, that there's a kaiju that shows up in the trailer. This is that same kaiju stepping down, I believe it's a truck, carrying some gas pipes, and with some of these not gas pipes, not pipes, what they call containers, gas containers. I forget, there's another word for it, but gas containers, right? Superman dives in there right in time, get this epic slow-mo shot. Then the next shot, we got Lex Luthor. And then one thing I love about the new Lex Luthor author, as we see Superman dashes by, is that he looks petty. Alright, he looks like he'll do some low-down stuff just to mess with Superman. He looks like he'll go the extra mile just to get under Superman's skin. Just like there's no reasoning behind it, but he he looks like he will go that extra level just to irritate and mess with Superman. Oh, take photo for the Daily Planet? I own the Daily Planet now. Why, Luthor? Why? Just because I feel like it. Damn it, Luthor, damn. But that's one best thing about it. How do I feel he's going to play as Lex Luthor? We have heard no dialogue, so we don't know what his voice is going to sound like, but I believe there's potential, right? So that's why I keep saying the cautiously optimistic because I'm not sure how it could turn out, but I'm not to the point where it's just like I believe this movie's gonna be a complete failure like other people. So it's just like I'm curious to see how it turns out. But he does look very petty. Now on to the next point. Now there's some people might be questioning why is it called Luthor Corps and not Lex Corps? Well, as you know, his name is Lex Luthor, and before it became Lex Corps, it used to be Luthor Corps. He inherited the company from his father. So there is a Superman storyline where it goes from Luthor Corps, as in he's living in the shadow of his father, to Lex Corps, where he finally, comes into his own and finally, moved past his father's legacy. And I'm pretty sure that's what James Gunn is pulling from here. But there's a cameo from a character that will be helping out Lex Luthor right here. But when we get to that, we get to the other helping out of Lex Luthor here. And we get this shot with the gun. A lot of people have made some James Bond comparison or Agent 47. I don't get the joke. But it looks alright. Now, does he have kryptonite bullets in this gun? I would say I'm 50-50 on the idea. Because it would make sense of why, but you have to explain how does he know this? How do you got to explain so-and-so? Then you got to explain this and that. But for the next minute, maybe he's trying to hold somebody else up at gun hostage. It could be Guy Gardner without his ring. It could be a Mr. Terrific without his orbs. It could be Hawk Girl. He's holding up with a gun and he's explaining his master plan. How Superman, he's not gonna save the day. You think Superman's gonna show up and you just walk out of here like nothing happened? Like you just gonna just walk away? That's not happening. Not here. Not anywhere. Because the days of Superman are over. But who knows? Who knows? That's all it looks like. Because it don't look like he's talking to Superman. It looks like he's talking to somebody close to Superman. He could be talking to Lois Lane, or so on and so on. Or somebody that's recently worked with Superman. Could be. And we have this shot where Superman breaks through some glass. I don't know what this is. I wish I could sit here and give you some type of reasoning behind what's happening right now. But I can't. I honestly don't know what's going on. Somebody say, well, it's simple. It's Superman punching the glass, right? Well, you have that, but if you look into the reflections, that is Metamorpho. It is. You can see the purple arm, the white face, the white other half. He's wearing gym shorts, not the underwear this time. I have no problem with that. He got the gym shorts on. That's Metamorpho. So it could be one or two things that's happening right here. It's better that Metamorpho and this other guy is creating a such blinding light where you can't see him directly behind Superman, but that's them, and that's where you got the reflection. And it's by them doing that, maybe Metamorpho. I'm not 100% updated on Metamorpho's abilities. I know you can change yourself into different type of materials, right? What if he's creating an artificial sun to help power up Superman to allow him to get the strength back to break the glass? Now that would technically explain this whole scene. Somehow Lex managed to capture Superman on his own means. There have been reports of people believing that Brainiac, and when I say reports, this is just theories. Like, there's nothing confirmed, there's no leaks, no nothing. That Brainiac could be shown up into the movie. Besides from an Easter egg, I don't really see that happen. Now somebody say, what about Supergirl? Her backstory is connected to Brainiac, right? Yes and no. Because in some interpretations, she is on Kandor, Brainiac shows up. Other cases, she was sent away when Brainiac showed up. And that's how she was, stuck there orbiting around the sun. That's how she's technically supposed to be older than Clark, but she's been orbiting the sun for the past few years, and then she shows up. So that's why it's kind of just, they can go either way. But in this case, it would explain what Metamorpho is doing in the reflection, and why Superman is breaking out. It could be a case where he's weakening. It could be a case where Lex Luthor somehow figure out he's weakening to red sun, or a certain version of ultraviolet light. It could be that case. They weaken them down. And then this is where, the Terrific show up and, help him out. Yeah, it is! I was right! Because if you freeze frame it, as soon as he breaks the glass, you can see 2 feet behind Superman. So it could be a case that Metamorpho is juicing up Superman with this artificial light and giving him his powers back. Or having his power, give his power back enough where he's strong enough to break the glass. And that's how it is. That's what I'm talking about. That's why you break it down frame by frame. I've heard nobody else, I've seen at least 6-10 other videos about this, and it's just no one else has brought it up. And then we have this little kid in this third world country. Now with this plot point, I've heard a lot. Cause back when the movie was still called Superman Legacy, there was supposed to be this whole plot point with the with this being this controversial angle of the third world country and intervention and so on, which could take some inspiration from Superman's versus Elite. Could be, could not be. But what's the controversy around it is unknown. Could it be the case that should superheroes be interfering with political matters? Could it be that case? Could it be that Superman is stepping beyond his means, and since he is a American-based type superhero, starting right off, Superman interfering in this conflict could have just blew. Like before, it was already a powder keg, right? It was already high tensions. People are starting to die. But with Superman coming in and saving this kid, an American, it just went from DEFCON 2 to DEFCON 10, and it could have just made the situation 10 times worse because Superman interfering, especially with no corporate backing, especially with no United States clearance, just by him showing up. This could totally backfire, and it could lead to, whether Superman knows it or not, more people end up in a hostage situation or more people dying without him knowing. It could be one of those cases. Could be. I'm about to get into the overall theory real soon, but he raises this up. I like the fact that I do have this little kid doing it, because, you know, the way I've already seen Superman is Clark Kent is Superman, but what Superman represents can be anybody. Anybody can be a hero, and it's quite strange. The most person who fit with the most humanity, the most caring, the most caring individual on this planet is not even from Earth. It's from a whole different planet with a whole different culture, with a whole different life, and it's strange, but you know, is what Superman is, and it goes into this case where we're gonna later see the kaiju, but you can see this is now. This does bring it to the question of how tough is Superman's suit. Now we haven't seen any rips or tears, but now maybe this is like a burnt mark on the suit where it's just like, well, you just gotta wash it off and it comes off, or maybe this burnt mark is permanent. We don't know where Superman got the suit from. We all know in Men of Steel that it was this Kryptonian thing, but usually it's rather Superman makes the suit or Martha Kent makes the suit and he just goes out there. Now some might say, well, how's the suit bulletproof and so on and so on? I don't know. Alright, it's one of those things where it doesn't make you question it, and if you don't question it, it kind of just rolls with the flow. It's kind of like RoboCop. It doesn't really cause you to question it. It's just, I guess. But also, remember how I said from the Superman interfering could have made things worse? This could be why the general public is throwing things at him and they're upset. It could not just be that Luthor could be funding this two-sided war. He's double dealing on the table like he's Obadiah Stane. He could have used this moment, whether Superman knows it or not. Maybe just from playing the right broadcast on the right channel on the right day for Superman to see it, that Superman comes in, saves the day, no corporate backing, no assistance. This country didn't call for him. No one did anything for him to come in here. He didn't get clearance from the United States government. He got no type of clearance. He just shows up, deal with the bad guys non-lethally, and just save all the hostages. But it's just he causes an international incident like no other, just by him trying to be a good person. And because of this outrage, some hostages could have died. Because of this outrage, more terrorist attacks could have happened. It could be anything. And because he did what he did, the general public of America being juiced up by Lex Luthor. We all know Lex. You know, we all know Lex. That's his name. Lex is J. Jonah Jameson with a budget and very petty. Very petty. Like, Jonah Jameson's hatred for Superman, for Spider-Man is irrational, but it's never to the point where he will actually try to kill, not Superman, for Spider-Man. It's never to the point where he would try to kill Spider-Man. Never. He will slander Spider-Man like there's no tomorrow, but it's never to the point where he will actually cause intentional physical harm to Spider-Man. From all what I've seen, all the cartoons, or in the comic books, he's never done that. But for Lex, he's J. Jonah on steroids. He actually hates Superman with every atom in his body. His existence disturbs Lex Luthor's soul to such a point where he has spent billions upon billions upon billions of dollars just to harm one person. It's levels of petty and hatred that most people could never even conceive. The raw hatred Lex has for Superman it's disgusting. It's strange. It's unusual. But it's just, it is Lex, and it's just part of, you know, how Lex Luthor is. I'm not curious to see different versions. I think the guy who put on the social network, I think he's Lex from the Snyderverse is alright, but it's not the Lex that, you know, everybody really wanted. Uh, it's not to the point where you're just like, oh my gosh, get him off my screen! So it's nothing like that. So as I said before, and this is why I believe the audience has turned against him, is because he was not supposed to interfere in this conflict, and he did, and he made things a lot worse. Igniting the powder kegs, igniting potentially America to interfere, and maybe that's why later on we see the Lex goons there, because maybe Lex got a military contract, and he's sending his Lex goons out there to help quote-unquote de-escalate the situation by making it 10 times worse. Now, I do understand that we have seen a scenario like this already happen, and Batman, Superman, Dawn of Justice, but it's just... hopefully from this approach, it is done better. That's all I can say. And the dude throw the can at him, and he's just like, I like how he throws the can at him. And Superman's just like, it's one of those moments where you walk away if somebody does something, and it's just like you easily could say something or do something, but Superman chooses to walk away. He goes inside, and what I love about this scene is it seems like Superman right here is really questioning his life decisions right now. He really is starting to push to the edge, but just like, I do all these things for people, and it's all for what? It's all for what? They're going to hate me either way. There's always a problem. There's always an issue. It's just why or why or why. In which, in this case, there was a comment made by James Gunn that does have me concerned. It's something about Lois Lane being like the strongest person or something like that. We don't know what that comes from, or what it implies. Now, could it be from the emotional aspect that Lois Lane helps out Superman by not giving him hope, but rekindling who Superman is as a person, and redirect him to, hey, you just can't just start having doubts now after everything you've done, after everything you accomplished, after everything you've done to make the world better. Sure, most people will slander you and run your name through the dirt, but you are genuinely helping people. You are actually changing lives. It could be one of those cases which leads to the scene later on. But before we get to that, I know nothing of Stag Industries from this screenshot where Superman just like questioning his life decisions. Nothing. At most, I know is from Arkham Knight. I like before Arkham Knight, I've never even knew that this company was a bigger ordeal. Because unlike with Marvel, like AIM is a big ordeal, right? AIM, Hydra, and all these other guys that play in the background and so on and so on. They're like a big ordeal, right? Before they play, it could be just because James Gunn's brother is playing these, I believe, CEO of Stag Industries or some other company. So it could be. We see Guy Gardner, and I love the fucking bowl cut. I don't give a damn what anybody says. The bowl cut looked fucking magnificent. Excellently. We had to so to explain what's Guy Gardner and Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl and eventually Metamorpho is doing in this movie. What James Gunn is creating is a pseudo version of the Terrifics from the comic books. It usually involves Plastic Man, Mr. Terrific, and some other characters, and I believe Metamorpho is on the team. So in this case, James Gunn did remix it by adding Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner to the team. But I believe the role they play compared to Superman is, unlike Superman who's shown up to this industry where there's already superheroes around, there's already superheroes with corporate sponsorships. This is why. Well, why does all their uniforms look uniform? Well, because they all work for Stag Industries or some other company. They're corporately backed. They're funded. They're approved by the United States government to allow to be superheroes, to allow to be intervening in these situations. Which is why if the Terrifics would have showed up to the Middle Eastern country, it would have been, well, since the United States approved it, it's okay, and the situation, kind of tampers down. But the fact that they're independent, unfunded by the feds, unfunded by a corporation backed by the feds with government contracts, showing up as an independent industry, it can be symbolic of people trying to show up with movies, games, comic books, or any type of media where, compared to the corporate backed entities, you're a small town person coming in here with big ideas and big dreams. And these corporate individuals, you have to give up their dream to do so on and so on, so don't like that. It can hit from multiple different aspects, and that's why I never hated the idea of Superman not being the first in the universe, because coming in from this aspect of Superman coming in as an average guy, the average superhero, just average background, coming in unconnected to anybody else, he's just his own man, going against these corporately backed individuals, going against these corporately backed superheroes where they got the funding, they got the feds, they got so on. So in this case, compared to when the other superhero suits get thrown up, they can easily get sponsored by Stag or whoever the Terrifics in this version getting corporately backed by. They can get funded by them, get medical care, get so on and so on. But if Superman stuff get torn up, That's money. You think you could just replace all this stuff with a basic journalist salary? Yeah, that's money. So it could be planned from that type of angle. When the independent man goes against the corporate world. And what I mean by that is, it's not as he represents all independent, but he does represent what it's like as an independent person going into an industry where it got all these. It's like with making music. As an independent person, you got to do all these extra things where the person with a record label, they don't got to do as much. But also, they also sacrificing a lot more to who they are as a person, which would create an interesting element. Because what did Gardner give up to get this sponsorship? What did Hot Girl give up to get this sponsorship? What did Metamorpho and Mr. Terrific give up to get this stag sponsorship, to have the Terrifics funded and do so on and so on? Sure, it is the smarter, more secure option compared to Superman, who could at any time could become public threat number one. But what did they lose? And if we go into what they lose and sacrifice compared to what Superman can do and influence and do for people, it can create for a very interesting movie that shows that, you know, there's a better way to do things. And you just don't got to sell it 100% to get something accomplished. It doesn't mean that everybody who got a corporate sponsorship or bought by a record label is a supervillain. It's just the evil of all evils. They're also just people too. So it could be an element where they join sides and take on Lex, on which, well, Lex must represent corporate. Lex represents an individual. Where people say money corrupts people, no. Money only allows people to do what they couldn't do before. That is it. So you got people murdering and doing all these messed up things. The only reason that they didn't do it before is because they didn't believe they had the possibility of doing it. That's it. That's it. And that's what the reality that separates most people from everybody else that they criticize and talk about. And that is the reason why I love the movie Street Kings. Is that when at the end of the movie he said, if the firemen or the doctors could do it, they would. And with most people, they're only mad not because what the person is doing is wrong. They're mad because it's wrong and they can't get away with it too. That's it. That's why the key point is, I'll never argue that this person's a sick human being for doing this messed up, because everybody else who do it, they'll go to jail. But if they do it, they don't go to jail. Really? As Keanu Reeves said at the end of that movie, whatever just happened to locking up bad guys. And how did Forrest Whitaker respond? We're all bad, Tom. Wow. And that's what you're going to use to excuse everything you did, is that we're all bad. And this could be what God Gone is doing in here. We got other people mad at Superman. Ah, shut up. Now, we don't know how that Kaiju battle turned out. Right? We don't know if the Terrific Shave It comes in and helps out Superman, or if Superman needs any help at all. But they comes in, still out of popularity from Superman, and say, hey, you know, hey, look, the Terrific showed up and helped out this brand new guy who's getting his feet wet into this brand new industry, and just so on and so on and so on. It could be a case that all these guys' secret identity is owned by SAG Industries. Maybe that's the extra leverage, the extra blackmail. Maybe with Metamorpho, they give him some type of device that stabilizes form, and they just, depending how they feel, take it away. It could be they have all this leverage, and they say push and pull between giving up everything who you are as a person, keeping everything, but going through a lot harder road, and having everything by default. And what bad people do when they're allowed to when they have access to unlimited budget. In this case, doesn't mean that the Terrifics are bad. Doesn't mean the way Superman did it is the good way. It doesn't mean what Lex doing is wrong in everybody else's hand, because if somebody else was a billionaire, they can also just change the world, right? It could be like a Batman. What makes Lex different from everybody else? And those are the interesting elements that got me optimistic about how this movie can turn out. Because if it turned out like that, it could turn out to like... Now, technically, you can go either way, or rather who they want to say is right or wrong. As long as Superman's principles stays intact, and he remains who he is, I don't know how they're going to try to paint who's good or who's bad. But in this case, those are the interesting elements I've heard nobody else talk about with this movie, where if it hits those key points, if it breaks it down that way, if it analyzes it, shape it up, and match it up those 10,000 different ways, it can create a compelling, interesting movie. It really can't. It really can't. But hey, who knows? But I don't know, I love it. So that's why all the uniforms are uniform with the Terrifics, is because they're sponsored, they're backed by somebody. More than likely SAG Industries, or it could be somebody else. We get to see the Kaiju. There have been some people roasting the Kaiju saying it looks goofy, but it's a giant monster. I guess he was supposed to look like the Kraken from 2010's Clash of the Titans. I guess. I guess he was supposed to have like this. Ooh, I'm just shaking my boots. Like there's supposed to be only one way to make a giant monster. It's a monster for God's sake. So according to the toy leaks, there is a baby version of this where this is the mother, and Lex took this baby kaiju, kicking off this whole beginning thing, where he's getting introduced to the Terrifics, and then the Middle Eastern conflict comes in, and that's when he goes to Stag Industry, because I guess they called him there, and that's when he got to interact with the public. Everybody's mad, everybody's raising at him, and this could be where Superman gets a proposition that, hey, you join Stag Industries, we can help roll this stuff on the rug, we can get you certified, we can get you can go to all these countries, you can do what you want to do, you can save people, but you can do it in Stag's way, the right way, the best way. With a condescending tone, he's just like, it could be that, So, it could be that Lex brought this creature in from another dimension, and by doing that, it made this thing upset. It came through. Everybody got to fight this giant monster, and Lex later on keeps the baby kaiju for his own devices. Well, this is the baby kaiju that he's mutated to become bigger, and now everybody got to fight him. Could be, but this could be the very moment where his suit is damaged. Could not be, because for most of this trailer, the suit is damaged. So it's up in the air. See that the flames don't affect him. Never had this other scene where, when the first teaser image of this Superman was released, no people had any real problems with the suit, but there were a lot of people roasting the image as Superman, he's just casually putting on his boots. How do you know this is not super speed? How do you know that it's not somebody already in the background fighting this group? How do you know this? How do you know? But they're the same people that sit there and say, well, context is key. Use your critical thinking skills. Apparently, most people don't have it, just like common sense. But isn't that a whole lesson you had to learn in middle school at reading? Yup. And middle school? Yeah. In elementary? Yup. So it's obviously, as I hinted toward earlier, that this could be the scene where Lois Lane doesn't give Superman like, oh, I'm giving you hope, but reinvigorates Superman where it's just like, hey, your ideals, your dreams, what you're fighting for is right. And you don't need the world to be on your side to know what you're doing is right. You don't need the public support to be on your side to know what you're doing is right. As long as what you're doing is right to who you are as a person, or being, that's all that matters. And that's what it could be. It could be that the Terrifics are out there fighting this thing right now. But what is it? I don't know what the hell this thing is. I've heard reports it can be a supervillain named Solaris. I don't know what the hell this thing is. I really don't. I read comic books, I keep up with stuff, and so on and so on. Well, but I say I don't know what that thing is, I honestly do not. One of the rare few times I've been perplexed and dumbfounded. And I've heard other people try to throw out theories, but really nobody knows what the hell this thing is. So it's obviously hinted to something at the end of the movie. What's going to be the final battle of the movie? Who knows? Because this could be it. But it also can be like 2/3 to the movie, and there's like a daylight fight later on, right? And we have Lois Lane and Clark Kent making out. So this could be a case where, you know, they get further in the relationship, and she learns about Clark Kent, right? But it doesn't mean necessarily that she knows that Clark Kent right now is Superman, which is why, sure, she hugs Superman later on, but it's not so close to W until maybe the ending scene of the trailer, where we're going to get to that. And we have this sad shot of Superman crowned over a robot. I've heard in the Fortress of Solitude, which fun fact, we'll get to that. But in this case, you see how it does look fitted in this angle. You can see that there is some muscularity depending on how David Cornsweet moves. Oh! It's not too late to replace the suit. You gonna reshoot a whole movie for a damn suit? You might as well just save it for the sequel. Damn. You know how much extra budget it is to shoot this whole damn movie for a fucking suit? Are you out your mind? But of course, you're not the one who got to make these critical decisions. Of course, people gonna come up with some shit like that. So apparently, this could be a drone from the Fortress of Solitude that helped teach Superman his culture, or it could be a drone bot that that Kal-El father had, Jor-El had, and it could be after an attack by Lex Luthor. That, you know, the robot is injured critically, and this is the last attachments to Krypton that Superman has. That's not just video footage, that can actually tell him what life is like, and, you know, what his father and parents did. This could be his only attachment. There could be a Jor-El and his mother hologram. It could not be. And if there's not, This was the only thing that was telling him about Krypton, telling him stories, and helped raise him on on Krypton culture while getting raised by Martha and John Kent. It could be a case that, this is Kal-El's last connection to Krypton, and it's Donna. Sure, his cousin does show up in Supergirl, but Supergirl is not really a neutral example of what Krypton is. Supergirl is her own person with her own opinions, her own viewpoints, and so on and so on. But with this robot could be a neutral party that just telling facts and information with no personal bias, with no extra information, no condescending tones, just straightforward. And this is just it's dead. It's gone. All that culture is just forever gone. Point. The Fortress of Solitude in this movie is interesting. It's not just, some cave glacier somewhere. The Fortress of Solitude actually raises up from the ground. So when you see these crystals, it's not just, some moving crystals or like the door opening. The whole fortress rises up from the ground. So the fact that Lex has found this place is interesting. Now, somebody said, how do I know that? There is a second trailer on which I saw in the theaters when I went to go saw the Sonic movie, where there is a scene where Lex, this mysterious mask character, and the engineer character I talked about to you earlier, where they're all walking in a snowy place. Unless Lex is taking that vacation to Alaska, this is obviously Antarctica. This is obviously the Fortress of Solitude that they're walking into. Which will explain why Superman was just stretched out, wounded. That doesn't seem like the kaiju gives him much trouble. And if he's not going to be fighting the Terrifics, if aside from that energy-looking thing, who will he be fighting? Who would be the main threat? And then we get the shot of Metamorpho. Now, first I thought it could be who could have injured the masked character was, without without his mask on. But no, you can see that white face, the brownness looking on the other side, and you can see the purple crystals on the other side. So that's obviously Metamorpho with the makeup. So I was right about the earlier thing, and we have this shot where the buildings are falling, which is very Man of Steel-ish, after Zod took Superman by his cape and just now we see why Etna said no cape and just blam all through the buildings. Excellent, great stuff. Because besides from that, I can't explain to you why these buildings are falling in the way they are. Now somebody say, could the kaiju get knocked back and knock them over? Yes and no. And the reason I say it is the kaiju does seem big, but the knockover, he doesn't seem as wide as these buildings. Just around the size of these buildings next to it. But the knockdown buildings like this look like somebody was thrown to this damn thing. You get this close up of Lex. Now it does appear that he is crying. It does appear that he's crying. Now what could he be crying about? It could be one of those things where, somebody tried to rehabilitate Lex or try to, your attitude is so and so. And this is where, Lex with renewed vigor, maybe over the potential death, he could have killed his father at this point, or he's finally turning Luthor Corp into Lex Corp, so he's becoming his own man, detached from his father's legacy, and want to destroy it and make his own legacy. And this is where, he got that renewed vigor to be this super villain towards Superman. It could be. Besides from that, I have no other reason why he could be crying. Now, he is damaged up some, and it seems like he is in a tattered suit, but what could have caused this? We don't see Lex outside fighting the kaiju. Actually, this could be a case where the kaiju did break out, and that's why Lex is looking like this. And then, the reason why he's crying right now is because they had to kill his baby. He had to kill his pet. And that's what could have made Lex Luthor's hatred for Superman even worse. Could be. Could be. You never know. You never know. The Superman image, you see that, Superman is pushing back the fist of the kaiju. And this is a really strange looking monster. You got dinosaur looking feet. You got human like hands. You can see like that looks like a knuckle, knuckles and fingers she's pushing back. So it's a real strange looking monster. Strange creature. Strange. Real strange. Now then you see some tentacle stuff in the back, and what the hell is he fighting? What is this monster right now? I don't even know. But we got Crypto pulling Superman. Now somebody said, why is he not going at the highest speed possible? Well, the man is obviously injured. There's no point in making it worse. And then we have this guy. Now this is the guy I've been stalling to talk about. You heard about the engineer thing. In what way would she be helping out? She's obviously going to be a side character. Maybe she fights Mr. Terrifics, Hawk Girl, and Guy Gardner. Could be a case. She's from the Authority, and I know absolutely nothing about this group. Like I said before, there are rare times where I've not heard of something from comic books, and this is one of, I don't know who the fuck the Authority is. I've never heard of them until like the whole James Gunn announced like the movie and so on. So I've never heard of this group. Who are these guys? I've heard the Guardians of the Galaxy because of the Earth Mighty Heroes and so on. So right, and like other videos, but I've never heard of this, the Authority. I've never heard of them. I've never had. Just weird. Same way I know about the Terrifics, I know about Plastic Man, Mr. Terrific, so on. So I've never heard of Authority. But on to this guy, dressed in all black. Now, it could be some spoiler shit right here. But according to some leaks, potential leaks, nothing confirmed, right? Nothing hardcore, right? This fella here could be Ultraman. This fella here, dressed in all black, could be Ultraman. But Ultraman with a twist. This is not Ultraman from different dimension. This is Ultraman as a clone of Superman. Now, why would he clone Superman? It could be a part of some military contract Lex has with the government. And it could go back to that whole corporatism type of thing where it's just like, hey, you know, how much they be loved, you know, all these superheroes going around. We want to have our own heroes funded by the feds. That's enough to protect America and so on and so on. It could be a case of that. And the reason why I believe he's a clone, well, besides from the fact that he's called Ultraman, is the fact that he can fly. Because when he's pushing Superman, he's levitating off the ground. What, well, he just took a super leap? Stop it. So, is that case? Somebody obviously had to beat up... Cause the character doesn't seem like he beat up Superman that bad. He's just damaged his suit, right? He's not bleeding or nothing. But whoever beat up Superman at the beginning of this trailer, Superman is stretched out. In critical condition. He needs help now. Now. So, but if there was a clone of Superman that was slightly stronger, that only can speak a few words, but is extremely, extremely powerful. But he's not smart enough to think for his own without Lex, right? There's a fail-safe with Lex. Well, hey, this is a forever minion, right? This guy is never going to turn on me. I already got that figured out, solved. So that's why he's a clone Superman, but he might not be as smart. Might not, because that's how Superman can defeat him. He don't have to out-punch him. He can just out-think him. And somebody say he is a clone if he can still get powered by solar light. Then how do you beat him without killing him? How do you beat him if you kill him? Because without kryptonite, I can whoop this man. I don't see it. Maybe that could be some actual red sun technology. Maybe him and the Terrifics team up. But then, what is that energy creature from earlier? I don't know. But you can see that with this baseball field, and Superman is trying everything he can to hold this monster back. Look at his feet. He's still going. Ultraman is still going. He's muscling through him. He's muscling through him. Because he's a monster, man. He's a monster. He's just muscling through him. Just Superman trying to stop him, but he's too much force. He's too strong for him. Yeah, this Ultraman could be monstrous. Now, I'm not expecting some type of doomsday type of scenario, but Ultraman can give Superman a beating. He can whoop him. He's like a big brother versus little brother. Little brother, you're 5 years old. I'm 11. You don't stand a chance. No chance, no way. So it could be that type of case where Ultraman, he's strong, he's powerful, he's extremely dependable, but he's not to the point where Lex won't be able to control it. So, the same way you could say earlier could be he's crying over the kaiju dying, that was his pet. You could say he could be crying that Ultraman is dying. And this is renewed vigor to take out Superman. It could be that Ultraman, behind the mask, is a nice guy. Who knows? Who knows? And then we get this shot of Mr. Terrific. I do like the black. When I first brought up a new Mr. Terrific, I was curious because we've seen the CW adapt them and so on and so on. But I didn't know how he's going to look. We got some behind the scenes shots, but I am liking the mask and the way the mask looks. I do like how it's not just face paint, and how it's like an actual mask that can actually kind of disguise what it looks like. And we see some of the T-Orbs help to defend him and potentially Lois Lane, that's right here on the ground, in this desert-like place. Now, this could be a desert. This obviously looks like a military base. So, as I said, Lex Luthor could have helped cause that, Middle Eastern problem by his fundings, gaslighting situation. Superman unknowingly goes in there, which wasn't even a part of Lex's plan to attack Superman. He was just doing his own behind-the-scenes things. And, opens up a weakness towards Superman on social level. And next thing you know, Superman is just hated by the public. Could be. Because we obviously see the LexCorp's goons right there. That's a Humvee right there in the background. We have these military type tents. So this obviously This is not somewhere in San Diego or Metropolis Beach. It's got to be some Middle Eastern country, right? So why would the Lex Goons be here? And especially with Mr. Terrific, remember, it could be a case that the Terrific show up and try to help out Superman throughout the movie. Could be. It could be Lois Lane shows up to try to figure out what was going on in the Middle Eastern country, and she find out Lex was behind it. She try to expose it. These goons show up, and Mr. Terrific here to provide, some support for it. Now, what role will Guy Gardner play in this? I don't know. I hope we can see some cool stuff from Guy Gardner. I like Guy Gardner. Top 3 favorite Green Lanterns, easily. How can you not like him? But I don't know. I hope he does get at least one good scene or two out this movie, and it's not just where he's like Yondu. You remember Yondu from the first Guardians of the Galaxy? Did he play a major role in the movie? Somewhat. But he still had that fantastic scene with the whistling, just do 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 do, and he had the excellent scene from the sequel. So it's just, I don't know. It's kind of up to how James Gunn want to do it. So we get this classic Lois and Kal-El type shot of them kissing each other, and by this point, she obviously knows that Superman is Clark Kent that they're wanting to see. And the final shot of the trailer is Superman going through the kaiju flames and flying up. He's boosting off. This is symbolic of the trailer, of the poster release, the whole look up thing. You gotta look up. There's Superman. And at this final shot where Lois hugs Superman, and they don't give us the title, what the title's gonna look like, but overall, that is that's the trailer. That's all my thoughts. 8 pens a billion about it. And as you can hear it, I am cautiously optimistic. This game can be a fantastic movie and it leads on to its own set of movies. Or if it fails, Warner Brothers acting like they want to get out of the live-action movie-making business. So that will be a good thing. Then we can get some potentially good animated TV shows and good movies like we used to. Get the Under the Red Hoods and, the Dark Knight Returns and so on and so on. Superman Red Suns and so on and so on, right? Could be that. Or it could, I don't know, because if you ever followed any Warner Brothers thing, Warner Brothers, for some strange reason, maybe it's some type of deep occult type thing, I don't know, they always find a way to ruin something good. They tried to butcher the Christopher Reeves movies, and they did, with Superman 3 and 4. They tried to butcher Michael Keaton's Batman movies, just like Superman got 2 good movies. The third and the fourth one, my gosh, Christopher Reeves Batman. 2 good first films. Some serial interference with Rise. Why? Man of Steel. Solid entry. Well, but the second one, we need to have a semi-Justice League. Why? And why are we killing off Superman in the second movie? Who thought this was a good idea? We could have still released Wonder Woman. We could have still released a Batman movie. But why do that? We gotta rush this thing, baby. And then when you do it, Zack Snyder have a family tragedy. Sad. But they kind of just kicked him off the project, brought in Joss Whedon. They slapped together any old film instead of finishing what the dude started, but it's nowhere compared to the Snyder Cut. And then after that, we get Aquaman. After that, we get Shazam 1 and 2, and the movies has Aquaman makes $1 billion. Hopefully, I can't confirm, but I think Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom kind of broke even at best. I can't confirm. Shazam 2 got Fears of the God. I have no stats on that. And Wonder Woman 1984 is just an abomination of a movie. So let's not talk about that. But as you can see consistently, Warner Brothers find some way to always interfere with their own success. And I don't understand why. These people are making you money. Why are you trying to dictate what they can do? Unless like they're doing something just outrageous, just if they're making money and got good ideas, shut the fuck up, fund the projects, and collecting the dough. How is that so hard? How is that just preposterous? This shit ain't rocket science. You hire people to give you a product, they give you back-to-back success, and by the third one, well, I'm gonna put my own touch on it. You shut your bitch ass up, fund the project, and just leave it at that. Sick of these motherfuckers. Every time they get something good, they find some way to fucking butcher it. Not just somewhat. Not just partially. Just ruin it to the point where nobody want to watch it anymore. How does this keep happening? How? I'll never understand. I gotta calm down. I gotta watch that blood pressure. Gotta calm down. But hopefully they really are giving the keys to James Gunn. Creature Commandos is out. I have not watched it. People seem to be enjoying it. I don't know what the rating numbers are, whether it's good or whether it's not. I just know that the DC guys are covering it. We got the Superman trailer. 2026 could be a release of the Woman of Tomorrow Supergirl trailer. Oh, what would that be about? Nobody knows. He starts filming next year, so I don't even know. We got an Authority movie got to come out. We got a Green Lantern TV show where people are complaining that John Jones, not John Jones, John Stewart, he's not dark enough. How dark do you expect John Stewart to be? You act like they chose some light-skinned guy. Guys like brown skins. I just don't get people. And I'm telling you, this is not a lie. One of these days, you guys will understand what I mean. But people love it this way. They love it. Because the world is like this. Well, what ought to be my thoughts? I just hope that, that they finally commit what James Gunn's doing. I just hope that they don't try to rush it to be the MCU too. Because technically, if this Superman movie turns out good, with the MCU being in its twilight years, they can completely flip the script, and DC can be what Marvel was for the past 10 years. No more than 10 years, like 14 years. Imagine that. Finally, that DC gets the proper recognition and credit they deserve, like what they did with Superman, just like when they did with Batman and the Dark Knights. Finally, they're back on the map once again, collecting the money with brand new Six Flags attractions and everything. It could be just that easy, or it could be the movie don't turn out good. Rather, people are just not interested, or not a good movie. And, it's back to the dark ages. So, I'm constantly optimistic. Hope it does well. The trailer got 20 million. 20 mil in a few days. That's impressive. But, I don't know. Who knows? Because it's strange to know. If there was any other movie with 20 million, everybody's excited. Well, for some reason with this movie, well, are those going to turn into ticket sales? You didn't say that shit with anything else. But now, James, I don't get, I don't know. I know James Gunn is some type of perfect person. He said some strange things. Very strange. I don't know the man personally. But some of that stuff he said on Twitter, I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. But as his actual physical career in films, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm about to see how it turns out. Because people were hating James Gunn before the tweet came out. I'll never get that. I don't know. But overall, I hope you get anything from this. I'm constantly optimistic. And remember, when it comes to entertainment or media, before you watch anybody else's opinions, just look at the stuff for yourself. That's all I can say about that. Before you, so, if there's a brand new thing, watch it yourself, then form your own opinions. When I say watch it yourself, do not watch it with the intent to find something wrong. Do not watch it to expect it to be some type of god to your thing. Just watch it because you're interested, and that's it. It can go well, it can go bad. But you're curious, right? And it shouldn't be to prove something right or wrong to somebody else. We do these things because we love these things. We enjoy it. And it's not just to, I gotta prove so. Life is not a dick measuring contest, you prick. What's wrong with you? Are you living for other people, or are you living for yourself? Are you living in between? Because a lot of people claim that, then next thing they're dedicating next year, 15 years of their life to that. So that is what it is. Big up to you, Gabe. Hope you guys liked the video. Like, comment, subscribe. And what are your personal thoughts about Superman trailer? As I said, I'm constantly optimistic. I'm interested. And as Ultraman is, as I say it is, Ultraman. He could be a dangerous man. He's a danger, especially if we get a reveal. Got his mask come off and he looks just like David Corn Sweat. My goodness. He could be a dangerous man, that's all I say. And then maybe, there's one last point. Maybe they want to make Ultraman. They take out Superman so they can have their own corporate sponsorship type Kryptonian, where it's all American, USA, so on and so, without the independent version. It's like how a corporation will make some knockoffs of something else. Knockoff of an independent product, a knockoff of an independent comic book to try to compete with them, but it's not really the same. Doesn't really have the same, same feeling to it. It's weird. It's not what it's supposed to be. They're just trying to imitate it. That could be what they're trying to do with Ultraman. Could be. But I've been up to the cave. I like to be like, comment, subscribe, and peace.